there, but he says no one took him seriously. Michael Levy is an inmate at the Arizona State Prison serving time for drug possession. He collapsed in prison and had a stroke caused by an aneurysm. The health of his heart and brain are in jeopardy, and we're now learning there are more complications. News 4 Tucson investigator Brett Bugansky shows you why his doctors are now pleading with the prison for Levy's early release.
Send him home. He needs to come home.
They are cries for help, not only from his mother, Risa.
I don't have control over Michael.
Now the Phoenix doctors who've cared for inmate Michael Levy outside of prison have written letters to the Arizona Department of Corrections, saying he remains somewhat disabled, should be functioning at a greater level, and said better access to all of this care might be able to prevent him from having further complication.
There shouldn't be any more screw-ups. You already almost killed him.
Last January, an aneurysm forced doctors to remove a growth in his head. He was bound to a wheelchair as he lost feeling in some limbs. His head sunk in. That visible mark would be corrected. On July 2nd, Levy had an artificial bone flap put in his head.
2 weeks later, the bubble came, and he was back in Phoenix.
Medical records obtained by the News 4 Tucson investigators reveal that same bone flap became infected.
His whole left side of his face swells up. His eye swells up closed, and they rush him in an ambulance.
Although it did not directly say what caused the infection, Levy's medical records said bone and joint infections usually come from an injury or infection elsewhere in your body. The germs are carried to your bones or joints through the bloodstream, and this medical report revealed Levy had an infection in his right toe.
You cannot look at this and not say it's not infected.
This is how his toe looked before doctors in Phoenix discovered it was infected. That was July 27th. Rewind to May 22nd, where Levy filled out an H&R medical request. He wrote down, "Toe hurts, pain." We spoke to Levy over the phone, who said he injured his right toe in his cell last April.
Everything was okay, it's healing, this and that.
Levy said doctors in prison reassured him his toe was not infected, but he said it didn't feel any better. In a letter dated June 10th, DOC told Levy's mother the staff was very aware of Levy's injured toe. It said Levy was receiving topical antibiotic treatment, but also said there is no bleeding, redness, warmth, or other indication there is an infection. But doctors in Phoenix indicated on July 27th there was indeed an infection, and at one point recommended part of Levy's toe be amputated. The Arizona Department of Corrections denied our request once again for an interview with Director Charles Ryan. A spokesman for DOC says because legal action was filed on behalf of Levy's attorney, the department cannot comment. Right now, Levy is receiving antibiotic treatment through an IV for the infection, an optimistic approach to see if doctors can avoid amputation.
I'm tired, yeah, I'm tired. Because I would hate for all this fighting to end in tragedy, for something really bad to happen to Mike.
His mother feels he's set up for failure. One doctor wrote, Levy may need to have his heart valve fixed before the brain problem can be fully addressed, and a primary care doctor assigned who can keep a close eye on this. Levy still needs to have heart surgery, as doctors discovered endocarditis to one of his heart valves back when he was admitted to the hospital in January.
I don't want to plan a funeral, and that's my biggest worry. You know, why come this far and then have to plan a funeral?
Brett Bugansky, News 4 Tucson.
Levy isn't the only inmate alleging malpractice. The ACLU filed a class action lawsuit against the Arizona Department of Corrections, alleging inadequate care for inmates. They accuse prison officials of negligence, delaying care, and in some cases, causing deaths. The trial is set to begin next month. If you have a story you want us to check out, email the investigators at KVOA.com or call the tip line 955-4444.